Is the Toronto Blue Jays pivot to Cody Bellinger nothing more than a desperate consolation prize, a reckless $140 million gamble on a boom or bust former MVP whose resurgence is built on Yankee Stadium's short porch and whose alarming underlying metrics scream regression, turning our lineup into a feast or famine circus that'll crumble when it matters most? That's the blistering hot take scorching through MLB analysis right now, with insiders like Keith Law from The Athletic torching it as a classic Atkins overcorrection. Chasing Bellinger as Tucker's backup plan is franchise malpractice. His .266 average last year masked a 36th percentile exit velocity and 97 WRC plus on the road. And dropping $140 million on a guy who's hit below .240 in 3 of the last 5 seasons is how you waste Vladdy's prime on a glorified platoon bat that'll wilt under. Rogers centers pressure. Welcome back to Blue Jays Nation, your unfiltered inferno for the raw, unsparing truth in pinstripes and maple leaf fire. I'm your host, channeling the fiery skepticism this rumor demands. Today, November 20th, 2025, we're eviscerating the buzz that has us targeting Cody Bellinger as the perfect lefty complement to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., dismantling why the so-called luxury insurance policy is a trap that overvalues name recognition, squanders our financial flexibility amid Bo Bichette's extension talks, and distracts from the balanced, sustainable upgrades our roster desperately needs to finally capture that World Series crown after last season's heartbreaking exit, where our offense batted a pathetic .218 against Dodgers pitching. This isn't about dismissing Bellinger's talent. It's about brutal honesty, shelling out $28 million AAV for a 29-year-old whose career has been a roller coaster of MVP highs and .165 lows is the kind of short-sighted panic move that's doomed franchises like the Angels, and pursuing him as Tucker's fallback screams a front office that's chasing headlines instead of building a champion, especially when our farm system ranks 18th, and our pitching staff coughed up a 4.56 ERA in the second half. Let's dive in, expose the flaws in this contingency plan, and project why walking away from Bellinger keeps us agile and competitive without the albatross, because in Jays Nation we've hyped enough rebound candidates that flopped. It's time to demand consistency, not more high-risk gambles that leave us rebuilding from the rubble. Let's cut through the smoke right away, because this rumor that exploded since yesterday's Jeff Posson report is being spun as the savvy backup option if we miss on Kyle Tucker. But a closer look reveals it's built on shaky foundations of selective stats and wishful thinking that could haunt us for years. The intel confirms the Jays have serious interest in Cody Bellinger, the 29-year-old outfielder who just opted out his Yankees deal after a 2025 season where he slashed .266 with 29 homers, 78 RBIs, and an .874 OPS, revitalizing his stock after a brutal .165 campaign with the Cubs in 2023. The pitch is that he's the ideal lefty complement to Vladdy's righty power, slotting into our lineup to balance a group that ranked 19th in runs scored for .4 per game, and struggled against right-handed pitching, .248 average, 22nd in MLB. Analysts note his gold glove defense in center field. He won it in 2024 with the Yankees, and versatility to play first base, providing insurance for Guerrero's occasional DH days. With a projected 5-year, $140 million deal, $28 million AAV, he's framed as an affordable alternative to Tucker's $460 million ask, allowing us to potentially retain Bichette $200 to $250 million extension and stay under the luxury tax threshold. Passon's report highlights how we've had Bellinger on our radar for years, dating back to his Dodgers days, and a solid platform in New York makes him a missing piece for a deep playoff run. But peel back the layers, and this hottest take detonates. It's a catastrophic overpay for a player whose resurgence is inflated by Yankee Stadium's short porch, where he hit 18 of his 29 homers last year, and whose underlying metrics, 36th percentile exit velocity, 28th percentile hard hit rate, suggests he's more lucky than elite, a regression candidate waiting to happen in Rogers Center's less hitter-friendly confines. The article itself admits his road WRC plus plummeted to 97 below league average, exposing him as a product of his environment, not a transformative bat. In high leverage spots, he batted just .240 with RISB last year, and his strikeout rate hovered at 22%, a red flag for a lineup that already whiffed 24% of the time in the playoffs. The hot take from Baseball Prospectus is blistering. Bellinger's not the answer. His comeback is built on bob-up luck, .325 last year, and park factors. Paying $140 million for a guy who's been worth 2.5 WAR or less than 4 of the last 6 seasons is how you become the 2020s Mets. All sizzle, no steak. Comparison sting. The Yankees let him walk for a reason, just like the Dodgers non-tendered him after 2022's .210 collapse. And we'd be buying high on a player whose MVP peak, 47 HR in 2019. Feels like a lifetime ago. The controversy on Effectively Wild podcast boils down to false hope. Bellinger's lefty bat overlaps with VAR shows, creating platoon issues, and his $28 million AAV could buy 2 starters like Nathan Eovaldi to fix our rotation woes instead. It's a damning critique. Our series lost them from pitching for .56 starter ERA, not lack of lefty power, and this move risks unbalancing the roster, deepening the case against this folly. The second argument is that Bellinger's fit as our lefty complement is fundamentally flawed, overlapping with existing pieces like Dalton Varsho and creating defensive logjams that weaken our outfield while his inconsistent production fails to address the clutch hitting voids that doomed us in October, making this pursuit a distraction from the real roster holes that need filling. The article notes we have some projected lefties in Varsho and Addison Barger, but Varsho's .245 average and 15 homers last year already provide lefty pop, and his elite defense, 12 DRS in center, makes him a Gold Glove contender. Adding Bellinger, who's solid but not elite in center, -2 DRS last year, forces one to a corner where his value dips. Our outfield ranked 8th in defensive run save, 14 DRS, and disrupting that for Bellinger's bat, which slumped to a .228 average in the second half last year, is a net loss. In the lineup, his lefty swing might protect Vladdy, but our real issue was clutch performance. We hit .241 with our ISB, 24th in MLB, and Bellinger's .240 mark in those spots won't fix that. The hot take from the Athletics' Levi Weaver is scorching. Bellinger's a luxury, not a need. His versatility is code for not elite anywhere, and paying $140 million for a platoon bat when your rotation needs $100 million in upgrades is like putting a spoiler on a car with a broken engine. It looks flashy, but won't win races. Analysts on MLB Central debate fiercely, with some calling it smart depth, but the consensus is that his $28 million AAV strains a $233 million payroll, forcing tough choices like non-tendering Yimi Garcia, 2.98 ERA last year, or skipping on bullpen help after our 4.22 relief ERA ranked 20th. It's a brutal truth. We've allocated inefficiently before. Springer's $24 million for .220 hitting, and repeating with Bellinger risks cap hell that limits mid-season moves. Capping off the indictment, the third pillar against this Bellinger mania is the financial recklessness of a $140 million commitment in a competitive market, where projected value is inflated by a weak free agent class and our desperation for a lefty bat, highlighting how this move prioritizes short-term optics over long-term stability and could handcuff us from addressing pitching needs that are the real key to October success. The article frames a $140 million price tag as significantly less than Tucker's ask, but that's relative. $28 million AAV for a player with a 2.8 WAR projection per ZiPS is inefficient, especially when you factor in his age, 29 decline risk, and history of shoulder issues that sapped his power in 2021 and 23. With Bichette's extension looming, $200 to $250 million, allocating $28 million to Bellinger ties up 12% of our payroll in one spot, leaving little for rotation help after Gausman's shoulder limited him to 28 starts, 3.83 ERA, and Manoah's volatility, 3.56 ERA, but 4.12 FIP. The hot take from Fangraph's Dan Szymborski is blistering. Bellinger's worth $20 million max. His metrics scream regression, and $140 million over 5 years is a $40 million overpay that'll force you to trade Jordan Romano or skip on a bat like Teoscar Hernandez, weakening your pen and lineup. Comparison sting. The Dodgers won the series with balanced spending, Ohtani's deferred deal, while we be all in on bats, ignoring our 22nd ranked starter ERA 4.38. The controversy on talk in baseball is that this is Atkins panicking. Bellinger's not the lefty complement. He's a platoon risk who hit .205 against lefties last year, spent on pitching like Blake Snell, or trade for Logan Gilbert to actually win, not chase names. It's a damning critique. Our World Series loss was the Dodgers pitching, 3.00 ERA, and adding Bellinger does nothing to close that gap. Projecting ahead, if the Blue Jays bite on this Bellinger hype and sign him as Tucker Insurance, it could lock us into a future of mediocrity, saddling us with an overpaid bat whose regression exposes our lack of pitching depth, potentially dropping our World Series odds from 14% to 9% of Fangraphs if the production dips and our rotation remains weak, leaving us as perennial contenders without the crown while rivals build smarter. Models from Baseball Prospectus project Bellinger at 2.5 to 3 WAR next year, adding 2 wins at best, but that's negligible for $28 million, inefficient when you consider the opportunity cost. That money could sign 2 starters like Michael Wacha, 3.76 ERA, and bolster the bullpen with a Josh Hader type. The implication is dire. Stagnation in Vladdy's prime, with another playoff exit blamed on unbalance spending as fans lament the Bellinger bust. Instead, pivot to wisdom. Extend Bichette for $250 million. Trade for controllable outfield talent like Luis Robert Jr. and use savings for pitching to create a roster that dominates. This rumor's hottest condemnation is its desperate settling. Kill it to forge a real path to glory. In torching this Cody Bellinger pursuit, we've exposed it as an overhyped distraction that risks our future without elevating our present, reaffirming that true contention demands balanced builds, not panic buys on regression candidates. But that's my blistering take. Bellinger's a bust. Is this a smart backup or a total whiff? Ignite the comments with your takes below. Smash like if this fired you up, and subscribe for more scorching Blue Jays breakdowns. Let's fan the flames.